Welcome back to week 1, level 2. We are starting back from the top of our 8-week cycle, a little bit lower intensity with the breath, but introducing the quadruple time breath, which I've been getting some great feedback on. We're still doing an 8-second exhalation, but we are quadruple timing that blow, hiss, soft shish, loud shish, which really squeezes the air out of the lungs, getting to that low lung volume. I love keeping the setup in here, everyone getting their equipment together, getting their ab ribbons on. It's so exciting. Now, here, we're pressing ourselves back against the wall, and you're thinking shoulders back against the wall, ribs back against the wall. The key here is when you do that hard engaged exhale, don't let your shoulders come off the wall, because if they do, you know that your pecs are overcompensating for that engaged exhale, which we certainly don't want. I love that we have the dog. Like, I really want the dog to start doing some of the exercises. Carmela, it's so funny. I love, and actually everyone here I think has had an animal in their shot at some point. Dorothy, I haven't seen an animal in yours yet. I'm waiting for your animal. Do you have any, even if it's like a fish in a fish tank or something? We need animals. I'm starting the routine out today, getting the heart rate up, putting the TheraBand behind the head to work on head posture. It's so easy for the head to go forward in even activities of daily living, never mind in our exercise routine. When things get high intensity, the head goes off of position, and because our head is 20 pounds on average, think about what that does to the mechanics of the rest of the body when the head is off. So here we're starting with the head pressing back into the band and thinking about getting nice and stacked right from the beginning. Dorothy, you can put the band a little bit higher up. I know it's kind of, awkward because you have to put it on your hair, but ideally to work on giving your head a little bit of resistance, I would prefer it, maybe like 3 inches higher than you have it right now, just to get that resistance on the neck flexors for that one. Also serves as pec mobility, so that's great. In the agility with that engaged exhalation pattern, imagining that there's that hexagon on the ground. Denise, I really like that you're using that wide yoga mat to visualize your hexagon. Really, really nice work there. And that imagining that hexagon on the ground is just really helpful in actually moving through space and getting your heart rate up. Moving wide and also moving forward. And let's add some band work to our cognition cardio for today. And something I liked about the cardio today is we did the same foot pattern every single time, but we just layer on different arms. So really working that cognition, that reactive. Really nice work, everyone. Dorothy, watch your wrist alignment. Keep your wrists in neutral and don't let the band pull the wrists together. So you almost want to think this is as much of a wrist strengthening exercise as it is a shoulder exercise. In this exercise here, we are using thoracic flexion to work on mid-thoracic mobility with our inhalation. So think about it. You can inhale into your back in between your shoulder blades if you keep your abs very engaged, and the engaged exhale helps to really contract those abs so that you're directing the air laterally into the ribbon and then, into the back, into the ribbon. And so this is just a great opportunity to open up the left. Everyone is in a beautiful position here. Denise, you can get even a little more thoracic flexion and aim to get the shoulders stacked on top of the hands here. That's the progression, is when you go to that quadruped position, rounding, full contraction of the serratus anterior, pushing the shoulder blades apart. Moving back to the cardio, same cardio routine, but now we're getting those pulling muscles. Really nice work, keeping those knees over the second and third toe. Mindy, this is a nice view, by the way. I like the expansive, I feel like I have a nice panoramic view of your place. So here, getting that high row. So we're working the shoulder mechanics immediately with this one. Adele, you can get your elbows, actually you fixed it. I was gonna say you can get your elbows a little bit higher, but you fixed it. Getting the high row is important in contrast to to that lower lateral row, because you're gonna work different muscle groups, really emphasize a bit more posterior deltoid and middle back scapular retractors. Introducing the quadruple time breath in this thoracic threading exercise, really a big focus on thoracic. You want to rotate only from the ribs, not from the pelvis. Really nice job, Adele, isolating that. And on that hard exhale, getting every last ounce of air out of the lungs using that hard exhale. Carmela, you can ground your lat a little bit more when you're balancing on that hand. And I know with past shoulder issues, you want to make sure to always be connected to that rotator cuff muscle, but also the lats, in a position like that. Here we're getting our Palloff press in our single leg balance, focusing on equalizing the weight between the foot tripod, taking this one a little bit slower to find that balance. Now, when you go to hip hinge, you can send more weight back to the heel than the front of the foot. Really nice job, Carmela, stabilizing that knee between the second and third toe. So you want to think shooting a laser beam between that second and third toe as you move through the balance exercise. And now go right to the other side of that side plank thoracic flexion. So here, again, grounding in that supporting lat. Carmela, make sure that the pelvis doesn't even move in a millimeter as you thoracic thread, so it's only isolated in the ribs, right? And Dorothy, same thing. You know, for this particular exercise, we're looking to only get a little bit of movement in the rib cage and not as much in the low back. So we're actually getting a little bit of mid thoracic rotation there, but inhibiting movement in the low back using that engaged exhale. So now this takes us right to the other side of that single leg Pallof press. As you move, Dorothy, you're like, wait, what's that say on? I do that all the time. But thinking, and I'll try to be better about announcing what leg I'm on as well, because it is helpful when we're all on the same leg. Really nice work balancing. Now, Denise, balance on the leg that's near to the tether point for this particular exercise, because that's going to work the outer hip just a little bit more and be a little more friendly on the knee. Not that you can't do it on the other side, but just for the purposes of the progression, you know, the compound exercises between the side plank and the balance. Here we're going shoulder endurance again and going through that hexagon. Amazing. You guys look great. I'm so super impressed with your agility. Dorothy, you can think, keep your lats grounded, keep those shoulders down, but really nice job pushing the shoulder blades apart. So we're getting that nice amount of thoracic flexion there and huge amount of cognitive benefit working through combinations like these. And I know they get your heart rate up, so super effective. Now we are working isometrically in our split squat. As a week one, I love working on endurance, just holding that split squat. And again, Denise, you fixed it. So keep the leg that's near to the tether point as the forward leg to really emphasize glute, hip abductor. Dorothy, you can press your head back a little bit more, thinking stack your head. You can even think like create a double chin. I used to use a toilet paper tube between my chin and my chest just to get that sensation of retracting the head back, getting the head stacked over the tailbone as you do these exercises. Carmela, amazing 45-degree angle with the arms. Really nice. Mindy, also really nice 45-degree angle with those arms. Mindy, you can put a little more weight on the front leg in that split squat as you pulse, minimize the weight on the back leg, because really you're training the front leg more in this particular split squat. So you're driving the foot down, pulling the foot back, getting those hamstrings, getting that glute of the front leg here with this one. And so now, this is fun. We are going to go to our agility again, but pulling the band apart. So, I love this as cardio, but also a nice way to balance out the pushing muscles by getting those band pulls at several angles of the arms. You're keeping your shoulder healthy by going through these movements here. What was I going to say? Carmela, make sure that you don't break the wrists in this position. So you want to keep the forearm a little bit flexed and make sure the wrist isn't broken. Okay, we're going to booty, and now with this glute activation exercise, we are staying in a little bit of thoracic flexion. So see how Adele is like tucking her chin in, pushing her shoulder blades apart as hard as she can, because we're doing quadruple time breath, really seaming the ribs together in that exercise. So that looks really nice. And now this is paired with that, with our pistol, but the chair pistol, we start with a kickstand leg, so it's a little bit lower intensity than it will be in a couple of weeks from now, so that we can hold isometric here. Really nice positioning, Dorothy, with the arms, nice height with the elbows. Carmela, beautiful posture, excellent with your head posture. Mindy as well, looks very excellent, very stacked, very, very nice. And I like, Denise, that you don't have a chair, but you're like, I don't care. I'm sitting down to a chair, and you actually do sit down to about the height of the chair. So, you don't necessarily need the chair if you go down to the height of the chair. That's just a tool to get you to work to full range of motion, really. So now with this one, we are getting our pushing endurance in that squat, pulling the feet together as hard as possible. Looks really great. Carmela, I think your low back is nice and stable now. I think you can get even lower. See if you can tap your butt, unless it's causing any pain in the knees. Your knees are going a little too far forward for this one. I'd like to see you in a little more of a hip hinge, sticking your butt out to the back. Like Mindy, look at how much she's sitting back in her hips. Most of the weight is back in the heels. She's like falling backwards. Now we're working isometric with our row here. Some are holding 8, some are holding 5, because we're doing quadruple time breath held in this position. Really nice work. Adele, I don't even think you need to bring your elbow up that high. Lower it down a bit and think shoulder back even more, right? Really nice 90-degree angle, Denise, there. That was excellent. Sometimes thinking like push the weight, back toward the hip, depending upon your certain, your structure, just to make sure you're emphasizing more lat. Now here, working on the single leg lat pullbacks, driving the head back into the hand. Excellent, excellent. Denise, you don't need to pull the elbow as far back. In fact, give yourself a little more resistance and move back a little bit, so you only need to bring the elbow back. Excellent, excellent form, Mindy. Look at how stacked Mindy is. Her head pressing back, her ribs pressing back. She's been studying HYPOXiX for over a year now. She was part of the first boot camp, and so you can really see those results. Amazing, amazing work. And Carmela, same thing here. Don't bring your elbow too high. Just think elbow up to the height of the rib. Dorothy, really, when you're working isometrically, and even, especially for anyone who's had shoulder problems, not necessary to bring the elbow that far back to work on your rowing mechanics. Think about it. When you pick something off the ground functionally, you don't need to bring the elbow that far back to functionally pick something up. So think about that. Just pull the elbow back to like the seam in your shirt and not too much further back. And if it's not challenging enough, give yourself more resistance to row back to that. Some people question my, my opinion on this, but I've worked with a lot of people with shoulder problems, and I've worked with a lot of the top physical therapists in New York City, and they all have the same opinion. Why play with fire? Why do that when you don't have to do that to get great results, And so now, moving on, we're going to the wall. I love this one for a balancing routine and also to get the lats. The left arm is anchored into the wall, specifically the elbow. You got to make sure the elbows are at a 45-degree angle, so a little in front of the shoulders, not directly side. Again, that's not really great for shoulder mechanics. And that's one reason I don't love the lat pull-down machine, because the bar doesn't give you the variability, the range to be able to have the elbows and the arm just working in a more natural position, or bench press. Like working that straight bar doesn't allow the arm to be at a nice 45-degree angle where it's really where it prefers to be. And when we're working for health and longevity, why not optimize? Really, really great job, you guys. Okay, we're gearing up for our last cognition cardio combo, which is that same foot pattern we've been working on, but now we're just getting some tricep endurance. So light band here, always light band when you're working high repetitions, so you don't burn out too fast, and also so that you can do between 20 and 30 repetitions. It should burn, but you should be able to do it with good form. Dorothy, think about your left shoulder staying back as you're anchoring that band on the left side, because the left arm is working as much as the right. It's just holding isometrically. Really, really nice work. Excellent, Denise. Excellent, Carmela. Carmela, you can bring that right elbow a little more forward as you do the tricep overhead. You don't really want the elbow right next to the shoulder, but always a little in front of for most exercises, especially when you've suffered shoulder issues before, biceps tendonitis, frozen shoulder, anything like that, which is so common for women between 40 and 60. So I believe that's probably most of us in this group right here. I certainly watched that. Thank you guys so much. I did say at the end of this class, we stopped hard at the end of the cardio, and then I directed you guys to go to Hypoxix.fitness. That's HYPOXiX.fitness, and go to the class schedule forum. And under today's or this week's class schedule, I posted a nasal recovery breathing video for you to do to balance that nervous system, which is so important at the end of a workout, and also get a couple of mobility exercises. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you at week 2 at the next one. Also sign up for your free trial at HYPOXiX.studio. That's HYPOXiX.studio. Thank you. I'm AJ. I'll see you soon in a live class.